Christmas is coming. New Year's, with all of its hopes and goals, is behind us. We started strong, but somewhere along the way, something happened. One missed workout, one postponed phone call, one busy week, one season of distraction, and suddenly you look up and Christmas is on the horizon. How'd that happen? And more importantly, how do we find our way back? Because if you're wondering, how did I get here? You're asking the right question. Because what happened to you happens to almost everyone. And once you understand why, you can begin finding your way back before the holidays get here. Hi, Dr. Dave here, the GardenShrink. I'm an old psychologist with fresh insights into how growth actually works in the garden and in life. Join me on a journey to increase the harvest out there and in our personal and professional lives. Whether you're just thinking about gardening, an old hand, or simply someone interested in psychological advice minus the copay, I've got something for you. So come on, let's grow something real together. Today, I want to talk about something that sneaks up on almost everyone, and almost nobody notices while it's happening. Most people don't wake up one morning and decide to abandon the things that matter. They just get busy. Life happens. The urgent crowds out the important. And little by little, we wander, we stray. If that's happened to you this year, you're exactly who this video is for. Because most people look at a season like that and think, I failed, I blew it, I lost momentum, and now the whole year is shot. But I don't think that's the right story. That's the all or nothing story. Maybe you didn't fail, maybe you drifted. Now's the perfect time to reassess and reset, because summer isn't the season for making promises, it's the season for keeping them. Okay, so here's the good news. Drift is normal. In fact, in my 3 decades of clinical practice, I've found it's almost inevitable. Anything that's not actively tended begins to drift. Gardens drift, relationships drift, good habits, say it with me now, drifts, even attention drifts. Okay, so it's normal, but why? Why do we drift? Usually it's one of 3 reasons. First, we want change, but we also want comfort. We want better. We also want predictability. Part of us wants the harvest, part of us wants to stay in the shade. In an earlier video, we identified this as ambivalence. That's a biggie. Second, results come slower than we hoped. We plant the seed and get discouraged when there isn't a tomato by Tuesday. Am I right? And third, we mistake one bad day for failure. We miss a workout, we overspend, we don't water the garden, we lose momentum, and suddenly we act like the whole year is ruined. It isn't. Positive movement, even partial, counts. But drift does have consequences. It usually doesn't feel dramatic, it feels small. A little current, a little wind, a little inattention, and before you know it, your anchor's up, you're off course, and you're drifting. Not because you chose a different life, but because you stopped tending the one you said you wanted. You know what nobody does? Nobody walks outside one morning and says, today's the day I'll let the weeds take over. Happens one Tuesday at a time. A few days of I'll get to it tomorrow. There's an old proverb that goes something like this. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of hands, and before long, there goes the harvest. Nobody accidentally grows a good garden, and nobody accidentally grows a good life. Listen up, the weeds are working overtime. You best be working overtime too, or it's salsa from aisle 7. Exactly. I'll take the Garden Fresh salsa, thank you very much. Now hear me. Successful people aren't people who never drift. Everyone does. Successful people notice it sooner. They return sooner. They re-tend. Think about a garden. When you see a weed, you don't bulldoze the whole thing. You pull the weed. When a tomato cage leans, you straighten it. When a plant needs support, you give it support. The goal isn't perfection, the goal is stewardship and harvest. So, here's your mid-year check-in. 3 questions. Where have I drifted? Not where have I failed, but where have I drifted off course from the person I want to be and from the goals I set? Second, what's one thing that was helping me that I've quietly stopped doing? And third, what's the smallest step I can take this week to get back on course? Not January 1st, not someday, this week. Even better, today. Don't till and replant the whole garden. Tend one bed. Don't redesign your whole life. Repair one sagging fence post. Because real change rarely returns through grand gestures. It usually returns through small, consistent acts of tending. Missed a day, get back on track. Missed a week, let's make a plan. Missed a month, we need to talk. But don't confuse being off course with being lost. Those are not the same thing. We might need to return to the middle lane. We don't need a whole new GPS. Christmas is coming. Really, it's coming. And before you know it, people will be making New Year's resolutions again. But here's the question. What happened to the promises you already made? We remember the big moments, New Year's Day, birthdays, Christmas, but lives are rarely changed on holidays. They're changed on ordinary Tuesdays by what we repeat or neglect. Now maybe your goals are thriving. Maybe they're struggling. Maybe they've drifted. Okay, notice it, own it, and tend it. Because gardens aren't lost in a day, and neither are lives. Returning isn't failure. Returning is maturity. Staying adrift, now that's the risk. Farmer Dave is fond of saying TGFM. Thank God for Monday, because every Monday is a tiny New Year's Day. You get a fresh start every single week. All right, see you later, friends, and happy holidays.